This month we're running a series on South Today, Radio Oxford and BBC Online about aspects of Oxfordshire that you may not know about. Tonight we're going underground. Historians are looking into claims there's a network of tunnels and hidden cellars beneath Oxford city centre. Jeremy Stern is in Oxford tonight. So Jeremy, where exactly are you?
I'm at Oxford Castle, Geraldine. I'm inside the crypt. Now, this room was built in the 1100s, but for many centuries it was sealed off. People didn't even know it existed. And it turns out there are other hidden places in Oxford. There's more to this city than you might think.
In Oxford, there's history everywhere, and people come from all around the world to marvel at it. But there's another side to Oxford that you won't have seen, because it's been buried away for at least 1,000 years. Archaeologists have made some amazing discoveries at a building site in St Aldate's.
As we've been digging down deeper, we're finding more and more evidence, and we're getting more and more of the story. For example, this is a drinking vessel that dates from the 15th century. We found this 5 metres below the surface within a basement. This is from the 13th century. This is a leather shoe. You can see the stitching, the fine details of the stitching and how the shoe was put together. Slightly earlier, we have a crucible dating from the 12th century. We've got the Jewish occupation of the site.
In the Middle Ages, rich and powerful families lived in the Jewish quarter. This is Upper St Aldate's in the centre of Oxford. Back then, it was called Great Jewry Street. Some of the most impressive buildings in Oxford were where the town hall is now.
There were mansions on both sides of the street going down St Aldate's. The Jews of Oxford were very involved with the Jews of Lincoln, and they intermarried. They had some fabulous weddings between the Jewish families of the two groups.
This cellar survives from that era and leaves a mystery 6 metres below street level.
So what's behind the door?
Well, this is a doorway that was not blocked up until the 1930s. And it leads to a massive tunnel system.
Maps from the early 1900s back up the idea that Oxford was linked underground. It's not clear why the tunnels were built, but Pam thinks they probably developed over centuries.
The city engineers think that the tunnel system under the road has collapsed due to roadworks and whatnot. But for all we know, all the tunnels that run under the site across the street still exist.
I've arranged to meet an archaeologist at what I'm told is another place of historical significance. A-Plan Insurance. Turns out this is no ordinary office.
The back part was for living in, the front bit was commercial premises. If you come downstairs, there's something rather extraordinary I can show you. You're going to go through this door. Now, you weren't expecting this, were you?
This cellar was part of a medieval tavern. Similar underground rooms have been found under other shops and homes.
People do talk about tunnels, and sometimes people think these cellars were linked one to another. It's not very often we can prove that. We have actually got a case near where we're digging in St Aldate's at the moment, where there is a documented tunnel from one side of the road to the other.
Do you think there's much more to find?
Oh yes, definitely. Because we study it from the drawings we've got of old houses, from the records we've got of old houses, the plans we've got of properties, but that's never necessarily what's there on the ground.
The St Aldate's site will be covered by new homes now the historical evidence has been removed. Clues about the varied past of this mysterious city.
Well, if you like his mysterious places, this is definitely a good place to come. David works at Oxford Castle. David, it's very atmospheric here, but I hear there's a bit of a checkered history.
Oh, indeed. After the Normans built the castle and a church, which later became a college, it developed more as a prison. And the part of this crypt was used as a storage place for the prison and for the buildings above, where they stored food, drink, and, on occasions, bodies.
Bodies?
Oh, indeed.
You need to tell me more about that.
Well, The bodies of prisoners who died here from whatever illness or disease or injury would be brought down here into the chill of the cellar before they were taken out across the courtyard to be buried elsewhere.
Okay, not a very cheery thought there.
No.
But we're about 2 metres underground. But the site goes a lot deeper, doesn't it?
Oh, indeed. Across the courtyard you'll find the castle motte or mound, and down the middle of there is the well. The 13th century well goes down about 57 feet, provided the castle with water during a siege situation, if there was one was to occur, such as when Matilda was trapped here during the 12th century. And it would have provided water, unlimited water, for the people who are living in the castle and trapped here.
David, thank you very much. Now, we have Felicity, who runs a walking tour in Oxford. Felicity, we saw some hidden places earlier. What else is out there?
Oh, there's lots. Oxford's a bit like an onion. Once you peel back a layer, you find something underneath. So there's a tunnel, for instance, leading from the Radcliffe Camera underground going north, where books were moved between different parts of the Bodleian Library. There's also an underground stream in Oxford, which is called the Trillmill Stream. And a tradition was started by T. Lawrence when he was an undergraduate. He went down into the stream in Christchurch Meadow, wearing a bicycle helmet light, and in a canoe he went underground until he got to the castle. But you can't do it anymore because it's grilled over at this end. But there's so many more places, both above and below ground.
Felicity, thank you very much. It's just fascinating stuff. I could listen to these stories all night. But you can see more on the Hidden Oxfordshire series on Monday, when we'll be looking at hidden nature. Geraldine.
Jeremy, thank you.